Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you wherever and whenever you are joining us. Welcome to our latest edition of What Caught My Eye, or WCME Sports. As always, I'm your host, the Coach Nick Vesci, joined by the boy Stephen Vesci and the man Stephen Comlow.
Hello.
Now, if you're new to our show, we like to think of ourselves as the sports show for sports fans about sports. We like to focus on what happens inside the lines of competition rather than the outside noise that oftentimes plagues our sporting rhetoric these days. Now, before we get into our top catch for the evening, just a reminder to follow us on all of our socials. That's on X, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, TikTok, Snapchat, and Threads at WCME_sports. Our episodes drop every Wednesday at noon on Spotify, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. And all that information can be found on our website, WCMEsports.com. Now, without further ado, we get into our top catch for tonight's show. And this week we went with the final college football playoff rankings that would determine what the actual teams are in the playoff. Now, if you missed it, over the weekend was conference championship week, which is now up for debate as to how valuable that is by some people, based off the fact that there's so many teams that didn't play in it that got in, that essentially moved up, as we'll see, for not playing, but teams, right? So you see things like that happen. But what we saw happen is JMU won the Sun Belt. Tulane handled North Texas in the American Athletic Conference of Americans.
Controversial calls in that game, but
yeah, title game. They handled business there. Georgia just pounded Alabama. That score was closer than what it was, and that was a 20-point game that could have been a lot worse. Yeah. Texas Tech, BYU in a game where that score was indicative of really how good Texas Tech is, because we all believe BYU is really good, and Texas Tech is just they are them. They're that good.
I might be convinced they're the best team in the country.
I was not gonna lie. I was thinking about that a little bit watching that. Like, man, because they weren't playing a slack. They're an 11-win team whose only losses to you.
An 11-win team,
right?
That BYU, and that's always fundamentally sound. That's always
well coached.
Trenches, that has NFL talent on the team. After that first drive too, I was like, okay, BYU's coming to play, and then that's the scripted drive, and you have to see what happens after the scripted drive. But yeah, Texas Tech, they're really, really good.
Yeah. Meanwhile, then Saturday night hits, and you have Indiana beat Ohio State 13-10 to make themselves the only undefeated team and the undisputed number one team in the country for the first time ever, which is just remarkable from Coach Siggs. And then you had the doomsday scenario we have said from a long time could possibly happen, and it came to fruition as Duke outcoached, outmanned, and outgunned UVA for a 27-20 overtime victory in the wildest of fashions, as an 8-5 team winning the conference championship. And again,
we talked about the nightmare scenario for the ACC, and it happened.
We got exactly what we asked for. Well,
they put all their eggs into UVA's basket, and they got burned.
No, but it wasn't. They didn't put all the eggs into UVA's basket the prior week, because remember, the College Football Committee moved all of those ACC teams above the Group of 5 teams. So it was like, okay, as long as SMU, UVA, Georgia Tech, or Pitt makes it to,
or Miami, any combination of those teams,
or Miami makes it to the conference championship game,
anyone but Duke,
they will get in, and somehow Duke finds a way there, and then of course in UVA fashion they screw it up.
Maybe putting all their eggs in one basket is not the correct term. They had all of their hopes and dreams riding on UVA, right? That's what happened. And so after all that, we get the final playoff ranking, and I'm going to say in absurd fashion, we saw certain things change, but it's only absurd because of the process that led up to it. If we hadn't known the process, and Kamala can pull this up now, if we hadn't known the process, the final rankings we saw, there might be one or two things up for debate. But because we saw the process and what went into it, some of these things are mind-boggling, like your thoughts are trapped in a bottle, right? So we saw Alabama get pummeled and not move at all. The first time ever, I believe, a conference champion loser hasn't moved down at least one spot, right? So they get pummeled, not moved down at all. Notre Dame and Miami, who were idle, did not play. We saw them flip-flop, which ultimately removed Notre Dame from the playoff. We see Tulane and JMU in as the last two highest-ranked conference champions. Miami is the last at-large team in, followed by Alabama, Oklahoma, A&M, Ole Miss, and Oregon. Right? And then our top 4, which is no surprise to anyone, IU, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas Tech. So the biggest controversy of everything is the Miami inclusion instead of Notre Dame. And again, it's only controversial because you saw all the things that led up to it. You saw that even though Miami holds the head-to-head advantage, Miami has the same record as them. Many of the same metrics are roughly the same between the two teams, right? A common opponent in Pitt, who they both pummeled. Technically, Miami won by more, but Pitt had like a late touchdown to change, right? They both pummeled Pitt, and that's a common opponent who was and had a chance, an inside chance to get here, actually. If they controlled it, if they had won out, they'd be here, right? So they both have that. But the issue, again, is the fact that we watched for 6 weeks, I believe, Notre Dame be ranked way above Miami. And then at the last minute, we see them switch, even though neither team did anything. It wasn't like Miami went and won a game in this fashion and Notre Dame looked bad here. Both teams were off during Champ Week because of the absurd inclusion of Duke in the ACC championship game. And that's where the issue lies. If you just looked at this, if you had never seen another ranking, and this is the first ranking you saw, the two things that would stand out would be Ole Miss being so high without a coach, Alabama being where they are after that. And then you would say, well, Notre Dame's not here, but they lost to Miami. And that would be it, right? It would end there, right? You would debate. The debate would be still Alabama, Miami, BYU, Notre Dame. Well, those last 4 would still be there. But at the same time, you would look at this and go, you know what? I have no issue with it, right? And we've said before, none of us are going to shed a tear or cry or, bemoan the fact that X team is out of these playoffs because every team had so many opportunities to take themselves off of that bubble, right?
Right.
But the issue at the end of the day is the fact that it's inexplicable that they jumped them at this juncture based off of all the other things they went through. Now, looking at it face value, it's not inexplicable. Same record. This team beat that team. So we rank them ahead of them, because you're going by merit there. But then when you say that, then it's, well, then why is Alabama where they are? After they got pounded, they have more losses now. One of their losses is to a garbage Florida State team that Miami beat in the same environment, both games in Tallahassee. Miami beat Florida State, Alabama didn't. Right? They got killed by Florida State, right? And then saying, well, that Alabama's first game of the year, we give them a pass for it, but yet Notre Dame's first game of the year was against the aforementioned Hurricanes, who they lost to, and they admittedly said they were a little cautious with their freshman quarterback, right? So that's where, if you just saw this immediately, didn't see any of the rankings, that's where we would have the debate and talk about it. And at the end of the day, all of us would go, well, you know what? Sticks and stones, we're splitting hairs here.
Ball don't lie.
This happens.
Right.
But it's the process. It's not the end result is the issue.
No, I understand that. But so again, if you look at it, you go, well, Miami should be above Notre Dame because they beat them head to head. They both have 2 losses, no problem. I have no issue with that. Again, your rankings beforehand is the issue because you're trying to, how do they jump them? But so they set the precedent for this when they jumped Alabama over Notre Dame after the tough and gritty win against a 5-7 Auburn team.
Who's playing without a coach, by the way.
Yeah, that's where they set this precedent because Correct. They jumped Alabama to basically ensure they do not get left out, even if they get destroyed in the conference championship game.
Which they did.
They left BYU at the 11th spot to also make sure that if BYU gets destroyed, no one cares. We'll drop them, right? And so that's exactly what they did. They dropped BYU a spot, and guess who went up 1 spot because they dropped them? Was Miami. Now they go, now because those two, Notre Dame and Miami, are next to each other, now we're going to do the head-to-head. They literally flipped it because they screwed it up and had to backtrack their way to it. BYU is the only team that I'm ever going to cry over, and I still, if you can't beat Texas Tech, you're not winning the national championship. So I'm not going to be super disappointed, but I believe BYU deserves to be in over Miami, and I don't think you should be punished for an extra game. So I don't.
Well, because they said that though they didn't punish Alabama, but they punished BYU.
Punished everyone else.
UVA dropped the most of any team that lost.
UVA dropped 2 spots.
Their conference championship game. And Alabama didn't drop it all.
Obviously dropped one. That has to happen because Indiana has to take that spot. That just has to happen. They set the precedent for this when they jumped Alabama over Notre Dame because they needed to backtrack this, and it also it ensures you get another SEC team in.
Correct. And the other issue, again, like you said, we brought up precedent. We brought up precedent all the time. Last year, the whole debate was about a 3-loss Alabama jumping over, and at that time, a 1-loss SMU, right? Yep. And they said, we're not going to penalize SMU. Well, what happened is they technically penalized them by moving them down 2 spots, but they didn't penalize them by kicking them out of the playoff.
Correct. Yep. Correct.
So if by that standard, if you lose your conference championship game by 3 points on a 56-yard field goal as time expires, and you move down 2 slots, shouldn't a team who gets pummeled in their championship game move down at least 1 slot? And Alabama didn't.
You did it to BYU. So
exactly, you did it to BYU, and especially with Alabama, who has a worse loss on their resume than any of these teams. Really. No one has a worse loss on their resume out of all of these teams on here.
Well, Tulane.
UTSA?
UTSA?
Yeah. Okay.
But Tulane
and they
did
get
conference title.
Yes, so they controlled their destiny. Yeah, and regardless of whether we saw my rankings, I would have JMU in the 11 and Tulane. You
needed the ACC. You needed UVA to win the ACC to have that debate of Tulane JMU, but they didn't. Reality's different. They didn't. So Tulane and JMU are in there. And Alabama's got the worst loss out of any of those teams up there.
Yes, and the bigger point to that, these two is if UVA won, Miami's not in. Which, looking at this, would make no sense because if they're going to be ranked there, they should still be in as the number 10 team, and then UVA would be 11 as the 4th highest conference champion. But that's almost part of the crime of all of this is that they changed their ranking as a result of another team who they didn't play their result. And that's where this whole thing becomes the distrust, the conspiracy theories, the ulterior motives, the agendas, the biases. And it's hard not to say that. You don't want to say it, right? You know the people in this committee have an unenviable job, right? They have a impossible task, right? Dude, there's always going to be someone who's going to be pissed off at you. It's one of those things that you can't avoid it. So we know that. But when we see things like this, it starts the tinfoil hat conspiracies. And it's hard for me to say, and hard for all of us to say, that there isn't a little bit in between there. Like, it's probably not full conspiracy, but it's also not, full innocence. There's some gray area there, and that's where the distrust comes from whenever you live in the gray area.
At the start of the year, Paul Feinbaum basically saying if they don't bow to the SEC this year, there's going to be problems. And then you had Sankey saying we should have 7 teams in. They are trying to push this into it's going to be just the 12 best teams, no auto bids. So they're going to push the group of 5 out. They're going to push the ACC out, and they're going to push the Big 12 out. And it's going to be Big 10 versus SEC, and it's going to be 8 SEC teams and 4 Big 10 teams. That's what they're trying to do.
Yes, because that makes them the most
and
money.
They might move to 16 and still get the same number, same number of teams, and then give you a Big 12 and ACC and a group of 5.
Yeah,
like that's what they're going to do.
Because
they're going to say who's the 12 best.
That's
the part that's the biggest issue
that they defined.
Is Notre Dame? Do we think Notre Dame is a better team than some of these teams? Probably, yeah.
You saw my rankings. I have them at 7.
They have 7. Yeah,
7. I am high on them.
Agree with that.
I think they have a better chance to win the national title than almost all these teams except for the top 4. Oh yeah, they're better than Ole Miss. I would argue they're better than Oregon.
I'm above them, and I have Ole Miss.
But at the same time, you can't ignore. Yeah, we see the 7-10 matchup as two teams that beat them, and that has to matter.
And college football is the only one that goes with this eye test, this objective stuff. What are we looking at here?
Because they play so few games and there's so few common opponents. That's why.
Whatever. Every other sport does it based on winning your division, winning your conference, whatever. Like if you look at the NFL standings, the Steelers are 4th in the AFC because they are they're leading their division. They're leading.
It's cut and dry. There's no debate of who's leading that division.
Right. So but however, are they part of the how many teams get into the NFL
7
postseason?
7 on each side. 7.
Okay. Are they part of that 7 of the 7 best teams in the AFC? No. But I don't care. That's not how it works.
Yeah, that's the issue is that they've brought up all the time. Are you trying to find the 7 best teams or 12 best teams, 12 most deserving? And that's the issue is that shouldn't be. Someone said it before, probably when they promoted this. We want the 12 best teams, and that boom, flatlined it because that can't be it. Like you said, boy, when you're trying to do a playoff for a champion, it's not about best or most deserving, right? Or best metrics or this or best wins. It has to be pure merit based off of winning X amount of games and then, winning the games that matters. Like that's what the NFL playoff is. No one's, even though the schedules are different in the NFL, no one's sitting there going, why is this team in the playoffs instead of that team? Why did this team get a chance at the Super Bowl and not that team? Well, this team won more games. Yes, there are some weird things that happen. We know that, right? A losing record team winning their division, like has happened before with the Seahawks, the Marshawn Lynch Seahawks Saints game, most famously was the first example, right? Those things happen, but like you said, boy, there's an explanation. Well, they won their division. They can't do anything about their division. Sucks. They won their division. They're in. They get a chance to play, right? And that's where this becomes an issue when you have all these other teams that didn't win anything that are out there. But you also
John Gruden's. I don't know if you saw his.
Yes, I did. His issue, his thing, it makes sense, but it's also not practical because what would happen is those conference championship games would mean nothing, and everyone would be wanting to watch those other games because they mean something, right? True. Because that's his whole point is that IU, Ohio State, all that means is who gets the number 1 seed.
Most watched game this year.
Yeah, it was great
over any network, by the way.
Yeah, I get it, but in terms of who gets in. Makes no difference. And the fact that they have to play, like Gruden brought up, they have to play an extra game, whereas Ole Miss, Oregon, A&M, just chilling on the couch doing nothing, drinking beers, sleeping, right? And these guys are pummeling each other, right? We saw Fernando Mendoza get obliterated early on in that game. That could have been the end of the whole season right there, right?
Obliterated is crazy.
He got obliterated. I'm sorry. Do we need to watch it?
Yeah,
he got obliterated.
I'm not arguing that. It's just funny to hear it. Just classified.
But that was part of Gruden's point too. Was that you lose possibly the guy who wins the Heisman Trophy this year, and now you're effective for the rest of this. Whereas A&M's just sitting at home. No one's getting hurt. No one's doing anything. So Gruden's point, it was valid. I loved it. It was a great idea. It's just not practical. One thing I brought up was. Maybe you can allow teams that aren't in the conference championship games to schedule a game with any opponent they want that week. So basically, like Miami could have chosen to schedule Southern Miss. They could have chosen to play Notre Dame again, right? That you could.
They have to be. Do they have to be in the field?
No, it just any team that is not in a conference championship game you could play against.
But you
don't have to.
But that's going to open the door to okay, Miami's going to schedule Vandy. And Vandy beats them, and then now it's going to be Vandy needs to be in.
Yes.
Right? Is that?
But that's fine because you have the option. You don't have to schedule it, right? You could be Ole Miss. You could be Ole Miss and say I'm not playing a game, and then they say okay, well you run the risk of Miami beating Vandy and jumping you. Because now Miami's got the same number of wins as you, and they've got to win over Notre Dame and Vandy, and you chose not to play because you were afraid you're going to lose. It gives.
What if Vandy plays Texas again, and the winner of that would jump an Ole Miss or Miami that decided not to play?
Possibly, yes, yeah. Because that's more. That's more merit, is what it is. It's building your resume, like you said, boy. There's They don't talk about your resume as much with this. They talk about the eye test. Well, this is an opportunity to have a resume building win that they can evaluate you on. Yeah, now, I don't think it's practical because what would happen? The same thing. It would take away the luster of the conference championship game because people would rather be watching Miami, Texas to see who's might have a chance to get in the playoff versus, IU, Ohio State, or Georgia, Alabama, where we knew whatever they would do, they would keep both teams in, right? So it changes the dynamic of that. I don't think they'd ever do it because they put such an onus on the conference championship games. Now, the other thing that I believe before we get into Notre Dame, I think they should not do what college basketball does because it's a similar type of process. It's not the same, but similar. The college basketball committee does not come out and release their entire bracket every week for 2 months. They don't. Now, I believe they will let you know, at this point in time, if the season ended today, here's the top 4 teams, the number 1 seeds.
Yeah.
But that's it. And they might tell you the first 4 out. Right. But they're not giving you the whole bracket.
It's bracketology.
Exactly. Which is not official.
Predictions. It's not what the committee's going to do. Those are just what he believes they're going to do.
Yes. So we would have bracketologists for college football, and they would be doing the same stuff. And then the selection Sunday would come around, and we would see these things, and we would talk about them. Because again, if that were the process, and this is the first time we saw it,
no one cares that Notre Dame's out.
No one cares. No one cares Notre Dame's out. It's a logical explanation. And the debate would just be, well, why is Alabama ranked that much higher than Notre Dame with an extra loss and a loss of 4, which is and BYU would
talk about. Well, because it is funny with BYU because leading up to this, the previous weeks, ESPN would refuse to put BYU on any graphic. It was Notre Dame versus Alabama versus Miami. Was every single graphic. And then it had in parentheses BYU in between Notre Dame, Miami at number 11. Like, why isn't their resume on there? And the reason is because their resume is better.
Yes, their resume is better than Ole Miss's.
And you know what pisses me off about it? Again, I don't want to cry about a team not getting in because you earn your right to get in if you win your games. But BYU, after the fact, Stanford Steve and Scott Van Pelt talked about it yesterday. About how maybe we should have looked at BYU more. Stanford Steve, you're on College Game Day. What the hell? And we love Van Pelt and Stanford Steve, so that one shocked me. And then McAfee, love McAfee. His group finally put BYU on a graphic yesterday, and I'm sitting there going, these are prominent members of College Game Day, and you haven't mentioned a word about them. And then after the fact, you go, you know what? BYU actually does have a gripe about this
because it's the popular thing to do, right? Talking about a team like that before controversy.
No, so what it is it's the network.
Well, exactly. Yeah, obviously,
because talking about it leading up to it runs the risk of you build the momentum for them, and then they get in, and now your network's losing money. Whereas you talk about it after the fact, that doesn't make a difference at all to our network. They didn't get in.
Who got in besides BYU right now? That benefits ESPN's network, and it's Alabama and Miami. Notre Dame is part of NBC.
Correct.
Right? BYU is the Big 12. The Big 12 was run by Fox. So, put my tinfoil hat on. I also think that's...
I mean, that's the issue is the whole...
When you intentionally leave them off of graphics, when they're sitting there with a better metrics than Miami and everything, that's...
And Ole Miss, by the way, if you put their resumes next to each other, Ole Miss and BYU, just pure numbers, they have a better.
Yeah, and then I love seeing people who did BYU beat? They beat Utah and Arizona.
Who did Ole Miss beat?
I don't know what.
Tulane.
Ole Miss beat Oklahoma.
And Tulane.
Yeah.
Who arguably are both ranked much higher than they should be. Tinfoil hat, probably because it helps Ole Miss's case get in.
The SEC guarantees one of those teams, Alabama and Oklahoma, moves on. Right? Those teams are not good.
No, they're not. They're good. They are not good.
I mean, I think that's probably got to be the biggest gripe-worthy thing is that once the matchups were announced, immediately Oregon is a 25-point favorite over JMU, and Ole Miss is like a 20-point favorite over Tulane, and so like
Tulane has actually come down.
It furthers the It furthers the argument though that like you guys said you guys wanted the 12 best teams, but we're gonna have pretty much first round buys for some of these schools.
So here's the thing though about the like group of 5 teams, because there's a lot of people who don't like this group of 5. The fact that there's 2 group of 5s. One, the ACC screwed up and allowed for an extra group of 5. All right, that's not going to happen every single year. 2, they earned their right, and I don't know why the college football media is the only like sports media that absolutely despises the underdogs. They are so mad that there are 2 group of 5 teams in, and I don't understand it. In March Madness, we love it, right? And wow, we saw how many teams, how many quote unquote group of 5s. They're called mid majors in college basketball. How many of them have made it to Final Four? Some have made it to the national championship. Butler was an inch away from winning the national championship against a blue blood in Duke, right? And
now
for some reason in football, we can't have it, even though every year there are upsets in the regular season. Maybe it won't happen in the postseason, but it lends itself to, if you beat them in the regular season, you can win the postseason, of a group of 5 team beating a power team. Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame last year. Notre Dame went on to the national championship.
Yeah. Right? No, so like, Steve, a couple
and
things
the way,
with
they're also and the thing that pisses me off too is they're like, well, if they get blown out, it's a problem. Did Tennessee, who is one of the biggest brands in college football and the SEC darling, did they do well last year in the first round against Ohio State? Nick, can you remind me of that?
Oh God, wasn't that game like 50-0?
I think it was 42-10. I believe it was something around there. No problem with that one, right? Indiana got smoked by Notre Dame, right? And everyone threw a fit because they didn't think Indiana deserved it. And then Tennessee gets walloped by Ohio State, and it's fine. Everything's fine. And now it's group of 5. If Oregon beats you by 30, it's a problem. No, it's not.
That's the thing too. Well, a couple things with that. One, winning a football game is the hardest game to win in all the sports. It is so hard to win a football game because of all the things you have to do and prepare for and execute. Whereas, as we know, a baseball game, you can get lucky, right? Back when pitchers could hit, the pitcher could pitch 9 innings and hit a solo home run, and the rest of your team doesn't do a darn thing, and you win that game 1-0. Like, that's theoretically possible in baseball. It's not a thing in football. So this whole thing about, this ridiculous that these teams are in because they're not as good. They can beat both these teams. Like the fact that I don't care that Tulane got killed by Ole Miss, and I don't care that JMU is untested and they're going into Autzen, right? They both can win. There's a possibility that happens, right? And going back to your point about, the college basketball stuff, one of the biggest criticisms that I've heard about having Tulane and JMU in is the fact that, they can't win a national title. Why are they there? You know how many teams are in that group?
Take out Oklahoma.
Exactly.
Take out Miami. Take out A&M.
You know how many teams
take them out
in the NCAA basketball bracket can't win that national title? Almost all of them. Well, no, like almost all of them don't have a shot, realistically, right?
Yeah.
But like you said, boy, no one sits there and is upset that St. Peter's is in. St. Peter's, I guarantee you, was like a 20-some point underdog at least to Kentucky. I believe that's who they beat in the first round and beat them, right? Princeton,
UMBC beat UVA.
By 20 points. Yeah. UMBC beat UVA by 20 points, right? So does UMBC, Purdue to Fairleigh Dickinson? Fairleigh Dickinson had no shot to win the national title. None. Everyone in the world knows it.
Was the favorite.
Yes. So sit there and say that we can't have them in because they have no shot to win the title is ignorant and lazy and lacks just, lacks a lot of hindsight, right? Lacks a lot of understanding of how human beings work, how fallible they are, and how unpredictable, especially 20-year-old kids are in an environment that is different from what they're used to. And if you haven't learned that from watching the NCAA tournaments in March and again the first week in April, then what are you doing? Like your head's under a rock, because that's the same thing. Yes, this year has been very chalk heavy. I read something about how the least amount of top 25 teams lost basically since the college football playoff came out. Right? Like so many of these teams did not lose. And normally there's a whole bunch of chaos and change in the rankings, but for the most part, these have been the same teams that we've seen at the top here. All right, there wasn't a random Kansas State up here, and then they lost 4 games in a row, and now some random Arizona State shows up, right? That didn't happen this year. But just because that didn't happen so far doesn't mean it can't happen. And just because you don't like it for whatever reason, college football is more elitist than anything else, which I don't get because, again, like my initial point, it is so hard to win a football game, right? It doesn't mean that these teams don't deserve to be there. And doesn't mean that you should change the rule. I believe I would rather have a playoff where every conference champ gets in the same way they have in basketball, because technically that means that every single school in the country has a shot to win the national title. Where things stand now, though, they don't. That it's just, these other teams are here because it's nice and they're here for TV ratings and to, give us a win when we go want to play, Miami of Ohio or things. And it's just, it's a nice story. But
they're out to kill the group of 5, which bothers me. Don't you want more of these stories, more of these teams to have their chance and to see how good other parts of the country are at playing football? Just because this guy wasn't a 5-star recruit out of high school doesn't mean he's a damn good football player. That bothers me. Or the coaching. How many coaches? I mean, look at Tulane and JMU's coaches are going to coach at the Power 4 level next year. Clearly they're good enough coaches to win you games, right?
Well,
otherwise you wouldn't poach them.
It's got to be a money thing, an ego thing. I don't know, because this goes all the way back to Boise State beating Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. What was that, 20 years ago at this point? And how hard it was just to get Boise State into that game, and how many people were so upset that Boise State was in that game, that they have no shot. This is not right. You're taking a spot from someone else. Who cares about them? And they went out and won. And that has been one of the most important games in the history of college football. Really has. Right? Because that's allowed Tulane and JMU to be here, to be honest with you. That allowed Cincinnati to be in that 14 playoff a couple years ago.
Correct.
Hawaii, a couple years after that, with Colt Brennan, got in. They got killed by Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, but it allowed them. It's allowed.
They beat USC, I think 2 years ago in the New Year's Six.
Yes. PJ Flex, Western Michigan, and lost to Wisconsin in the Cotton Bowl, I believe, a few years back.
UCF,
right?
Remember UCF with Scott Frost before they joined the Big 12?
Yeah, they went undefeated. They still claim that national championship because
I don't know why that's to kill the group of 5.
Because
it's tough enough for them as it is, and now we're saying there's a chance for the best group of 5 team to get in, possibly 2. That maybe that keeps some players at the group of 5 level at those schools. Maybe it can keep some coaches, but we're out to just kill them, and we're going
because ultimately at the end of the day, and just like I'll bring up with Notre Dame, it comes down to money. The people at the top, who are the big time boosters, the big time money makers. Whether it's at a school, a conference, a television provider, they stand to lose an exorbitant amount of money by having a school like Tulane and JMU in. Whereas for the college basketball, the way it's set up, there goes Kamo. The way it's set up for college basketball, they don't stand to lose that because of how much money the NCAA tournament brings in. That it doesn't matter. And yes, obviously those big conferences would rather have it the way it is, but they would lose viewership, I'm sure, if they just alienated everyone else because of the way that it's all set up and the way that they've marketed it and all that stuff. But in college football, the big wigs, the people who stand to lose the most money or make the most money, it affects them. And that brings us to Notre Dame. The thing with them not getting in. If I'm a Notre Dame alum and I'm mad about it because of, again, the process, right? You basically just jerked us around and then you made a decision that at the end of the day was arbitrary and capricious. It really was. And it was vindictive, essentially. and it didn't make sense because of the process. But at the end of the day, you look at it, and they probably shouldn't have been ranked ahead of Miami.
Correct.
And no one should really pitch a fit if they're ranked ahead of them. But the bigger issue, again, of everything that Notre Dame has done, opting out of the bowl game, Pete Pavakwa, the AD, getting on every channel he can to just bitch and moan and throw stones.
Oh, did you see the Big 12 commissioner said what he is doing is egregious?
Yeah, I saw that.
It's going after.
Have we ever heard any athletic director talk this much? It seems like I can't scroll through social media. I can't scroll through the Google News headlines. I can't do anything without seeing Notre Dame's AD mouthing off.
Because
I would love to give.
It's making them money right now to do it, right? And their whole idea too. This is born out of hubris and arrogance.
Bad for the brand, though.
And the idea that we are superior to you. We hold more power to you because of our status as Notre Dame, and that you will suffer because you left us out. But in reality, it's short-sighted and I believe misguided, and it's immature is what it is. It doesn't set a good example for anyone.
No.
But
I'm just going to take my ball and go.
Notre Dame's side of it, all the former Notre Dame alum that are in the media, all the former Notre Dame people that like the fans or whatever, they love the decision. And they're the only ones, and all they do is say, you're jealous. So congratulations, Notre Dame. You get the 2025 Entitlement University Award.
I think like the saddest part about all of it, and I might have missed you guys talking about this because my internet cut out for a second. But I think the saddest part about all of that is that this is legitimately like some of these guys' last chance to play in a football game. Like it's not about, it's like, yeah, is the name on the front a hell of a lot more important than the name on the back? Absolutely. But like, at the end of the day, these are kids that get to play a game and recently have been getting paid legitimate money to play that game.
Like, and most of them will not make it to the next level to get paid.
Let the kids
to keep
play.
Playing.
Let
Correct.
the kids play.
Yes, that was my biggest issue, is that if you're a senior on that team or a parent of a senior on that team, your child or you just played your last snap and you had no idea.
No idea.
Like Nick, could you imagine like go back to high school and imagine if our athletic director from high school had said, "Oh, you guys want to play this football game at James Woods or Sharando or wherever we ended up playing that playoff game at? Yeah, we're not going to do it. We're opting out. We don't want to do it." And then you don't end up getting to play in another high school football game. Like, wouldn't that be just the most ridiculous thing in the world? Like, how pissed off as a player would you be?
I would be. Yeah, you're right. Like the boy said, you would have played your last snap and not realized it. But the other thing too that I hate of this, they came out and said, "Oh, the players voted on this. This was a player decision." I'm here to say that's bullshit. I'm sorry. I don't believe.
Give us access to the players.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that this was a Marcus Freeman decision. I believe he had no hand in this. I believe the players had nothing. I believe this was an athletic department decision. They came out and told them, "This is what we're going to do." And does anyone object? And of course, what's the 22-year-old kid sitting there going to do? Then they know that, right? They know that kid's not going to sit there and say anything. And so they go, "Oh, okay, the players let us do this. Yeah. This was the players decided this," and they hide behind that. And it's all politicking.
It's get in line. The adults are talking. You guys shut up and listen.
Yeah,
like, it's just sad. It's really sad.
It is, and it's short-sighted. I think is the best thing, because the reason they're doing that is
short-sightedness is
that they're saying, "Oh, they're really going to regret us not playing. The Pop-Tarts Bowl is going to pay. NCAA football is going to pay for leaving us out. This is egregious. We're going to attack the ACC because they're the weakest ones, and it's easy for us to say we've given them so much." And it's like, no. At the end of the day, right? This comes across as so disingenuous.
Yes.
Like so just oblivious, right? Hard-headed. Just lacking of the ability to see the world around you and understand it.
It's so tone deaf.
Tone deaf is the best word for it, because nobody cares. Yeah. Yes, I do believe you have a legitimate gripe because of the process. I would be angry if I was a player, a coach, anyone associated with Notre Dame at all, any fan, right? I would be angry because it is kind of ridiculous what they did, because we saw the process. But again, at the end of the day, there are several things you can control. One, You could have beat Miami or Texas A&M. You win one of those games. Like, you don't fumble the snap in the A&M game, and you don't give up a 4th and 11 to let them score. You had control over those things, right? You take care of that, you're fine. 2, if you had joined a conference at any time, this is a non-issue.
Mm-hmm.
Non-issue at all. And I don't want to hear the argument of, well, if you look at their schedule, it's the same as playing a conference schedule for another team. I get that. And it is. We brought this up earlier this year about that. I believe they played more Power 4 teams than anyone else. It just happened that the Power 4 teams they played sucked, right? Like the Arkansas and Syracuse. Syracuse won like 10 games last year. They lost their QB, who was a Notre Dame transfer. Lost every game after he got hurt, right? By a gajillion. Got blown out. So, yes, I understand those things, and I get it. But at the end of the day, if you had been in the Big Ten or something, or the ACC, and played that schedule and you finished with the same record you did, you would have, either been in a conference championship game, or you would have already been in, right, by where they ranked you, especially as your brand. And so your decision not being a conference, as understandable as it is because of the money, right, the amount of money that they are making by not being a conference and being just exclusive on their own, and having all the money from NBC goes to them, they don't have to split it. All the money they made last year from the playoff goes to them, they don't have to split any of that. And I get that. But that's the point of all this, Pete Bavacqua going out there, all these Notre Dame people coming out here and losing their minds, it falls on deaf ears. Yeah. No one is going to bleed for you. No one's going to support you, because this happened as a result of your own decisions. And it's like a whiny kid who's spoiled and thinks they're entitled to do X, Y, Z.
They want to have their cake and eat it too.
Correct. And
they want to do things their way, but when it doesn't go according to their plan, it's everyone else's fault.
Correct. And that's the issue. Like, again, would I be pissed off if I went to Notre Dame? You're damn right it would be. I would be really mad.
Hell yeah.
Right, and justifiably so.
Hell yeah.
But to sit there and say you're okay with their AD coming out and making these almost outlandish statements and just accusatory, just attacking, right, all these things is just, it's immature.
Such a bad
It's childish, and yes, it looks bad for you, but at the end of the day, I don't think Notre Dame cares because of 2 things. 1, in their mind, eternally, they will never, ever believe that it makes them look bad. And 2, it makes people talk about them, which ergo turns into money in their pocket. So this is a win-win situation for Notre Dame to come out and pitch a hissy fit and yell and cry and scream and accuse people.
For the school, for the University of Notre Dame, yes, I would agree with you. It's a win-win. But I think for the athletic, I think for the rest of the athletic staff, I think for the players and for the student body, I think it's a huge L. Yes. A huge L, because it's one less game. It's one less reason to celebrate. Again, you've played your last snap and you don't know it. You've gone to your last football game and you don't know it. And it's just all around sad. Like, my heart breaks for so many of those people.
I mean, the band, right? Our cousin one of our cousins was in the band there, right? He got to go to all these bowl games. This would have been a chance. The game was in Orlando, I believe, is what they turned out in the Pop-Tarts Bowl in Orlando against BYU.
Yeah, they played BYU.
Yes, right. And so maybe you've been to Orlando before, maybe you haven't, right? Everyone knows in Orlando, there's Disney World and Universal, things that a lot of people aren't able to ever go to in their life. And if you're sitting there, kid in the band who would have gotten to go to that game, right? And now they can't because
a podcaster with a press credential.
Yeah, the powers that be want to sit there and show a lack of true leadership. It is, like you said, Kamala, you're right. My heart breaks for them. My heart does break for all the kids there because they were denied things because, like you said, all the adults are talking in the room and we want to get in a pissing contest to see who's bigger, right? And that's not true leadership. It's not.
Yeah.
That's
Notre
not
Dame takes on the NCAA and calls it a win.
Exactly.
No, but I think it's a huge L. God, that would be. It just leaves such a bad taste in your mouth. It's supposed Notre Dame is supposed to be such a respected brand, and I think that this falls way below what should be considered par for that school. This is so beneath them.
Yeah, it shows it's a lack of class.
Yeah,
but it also shows why people don't like them.
Yes,
this is the reason why people don't like you.
And
your response to it is you guys are jealous.
juxtapose this whole situation.
I am the golden god. Yeah. I will sit here. My minions
come to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like juxtapose this whole situation next to Rudy. Like Nick, could you imagine like educating your sons?
Offsides.
Could you imagine educating your kids about Rudy and the story of Rudy, and then like the next day being like, oh, by the way, Notre Dame's done for the year.
Yeah.
Well, so this is
they're protesting.
So I will say, like, as much flack as I give the SEC, at least they want to spot the ball and play.
At least they stand for something.
No,
I mean, Clark Lee came out and said we have no one to blame but ourselves.
Yes,
and
he's the only He's the only coach in the SEC that would ever say that.
Said, we're gonna play. Mm-hmm. Obviously we're playing a bowl game.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's not just specific to Notre Dame. Notre Dame's obviously the biggest brand. And the ones that this happened to, where like they're the ones that feel snubbed from the postseason. But other schools have declined bowl invitations, and same thing. Even if you're going through a coaching change, I don't really care. Those kids need to play and compete. And what happened to just competing because you love to play and love to compete?
Straight up.
My other issue with that you're right. This happened in the past. You see two this year. Kansas State and Iowa State are both going to get fined $500,000 for.
Correct.
Passing on both things because their excuse, like you said, boy, is a coaching change, and we're afraid all those guys are going to transfer. But that doesn't make sense because what have the other 100 guys on your roster been doing the whole year that they can't go out and play? You made a decision to give this kid a scholarship to play right tackle at your school,
I don't care if you're
but he's not ready.
Yes,
I agree with you, boy, and I do understand the idea behind the coaching thing to be like, oh, this will be a debacle, right? And I get that not from an organizational standpoint, like not being organized enough to have your head on your shoulders and right. Part of that I get, but at the same time, if there's still coaches there and the kids are still there, you can prepare for that game. You can, right? And again, that still kills me. Well, we can't play with a third string right guard.
Like at this point,
why is he on scholarship?
Like,
why do you give this kid money?
Are you really going to pretend that like playing in something like the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl is so deep and so important that we can't afford to have a bad look with our third string quarterback in this bowl game that clearly means the whole world? Like, this is just extra. You're invited to play in this. This is an invitational. It's low stakes poker. Show up. Let the kids have fun. Your season's over. Let them go out with a bang. Like,
by the way, that's also been something that we've missed too. Is that you get the bowl week, right? Mm-hmm. So you're there usually for a few days to just. Yeah. I mean, you're on break.
Treat it like a senior night.
They get a crap ton of stuff too. They get
the kids go out and play in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Yes. Let the kids go out and play in the Bush's Boca Raton Bowl. Like, it doesn't matter.
Through the best names. The San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl. That was always my favorite. Because I still don't understand what a credit union is, and that was the most absurd. The San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl in Qualcomm Stadium that hadn't been used.
Do you think Penn State gives a shit that their head coach is gone? They're still gonna suit up and go play in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. It's a game. This is just whipped cream on top of your Sunday of a season. Like, go have fun, enjoy it. Fucking treat yourself, King. Put that crown on.
And anything else? Yeah, you end your year with your win, and then that means something. It should mean something. Anything else before we move on to our three strikes? Boy,
I want to play in the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl.
My camera decided. To crap out, and I'm pretty sure it means I need to update my device.
Yeah,
because IT just sends out to
buy a new one, build a company. We have press credentials.
Yeah,
exactly.
And the media credentials.
I wasn't gonna update it during this because it's like the estimated time was 7 minutes.
You never know how long it's gonna take. Oh my. I'm hitting it, goddamn.
Boy. Go ahead.
Let's talk about the AFC South and the new and improved AFC South, by the way, because this has been the laughingstock of the NFL for the last probably 5 years, maybe more. But the Jaguars winning straight after thumping Indianapolis last week. They move into first place in the AFC South at 9-4, by the way.
Yes. With a win over the Chiefs, by the way.
That's a pretty quiet 9-4, too.
Yes, it is. And then Houston, winners of 5 straight, Left 4 Dead, have looked fantastic.
Also a win over the Chiefs.
Well,
yep.
Did you expect anything less from D'Amico Ryans?
No, they need to be. That's exactly what I expect from him. And they're 8-5. And Indy, who started out fantastic, has
they're
third place.
They're done.
Yeah, and have no quarterback. They just
Rivers. Who did you? Yes, they just signed 44-year-old grandfather, legitimate grandfather.
I was going to say
Phillip
grandfather.
Rivers. He is a legitimate grandfather. Phillip Rivers.
Have you seen, dude, the memes are so good. You know I love a good meme, and someone posted a GIF, and the title was Phillip Rivers getting back in shape with the support of his kids, and it's Rocky running through the streets of Philadelphia. He's gonna fly.
Like, what in tarnation is going on?
Yeah.
Hey, it's
tough times out there in Indy.
Well, because what makes it also...
hilarious.
I hesitate to say comical because this guy did get legitimately seriously injured.
Poor Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes, man.
Well, no, I was going to bring up Anthony Richardson.
Oh, yeah, too. True.
Right?
True,
because
true.
So before Daniel Jones, yes, it stinks. He tore his Achilles. He was having the best year of his career, right? A couple weeks ago, Anthony Richardson, who's their backup at this point, who should been just be able to plug in, was exercising with like an exercise band. The apparatus malfunctioned, and the clip like slingshotted and caught him in his eye and broke stuff like in his eye. Had to get like emergent surgery and stuff, and apparently just had a setback with it.
Good Lord.
And yes, that right, it's awful you hear that, but then it adds almost to the comedy of like, okay, so our franchise quarterback had an accident with a stretching band and is out for however long. The guy we signed who beat him out just tore his Achilles. Riley Leonard, the other guy, has some issue he can't play. And now we're just going to go to 44-year-old Phillip Rivers.
By the way, before Phillip Rivers, I believe there is also one other possible quarterback in play, and it's Tyler Warren.
Oh, that's true.
Local Atlee High School in Mechanicsville, Virginia.
Nice. That's
you know what? You know what? At this point, they probably, if they installed something, and again, this is all the stupid media people. We just do this. You can't just go out there and we'll play backyard football stuff. But if they had a whole packages installed where he's at quarterback with Jonathan Taylor, and you had all these specific read option type of plays and RPO things, they probably would move the ball down the field and be successful.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
that doesn't happen in a week, right? If they don't have that already,
no. And then you also can't risk like, oh, I'm going to play Tyler Warren here, and I'm going to run him, 15 times a game or whatever, and then Tyler Warren gets his knee blown out.
No. I'm sorry, boy. I actually 100% disagree with you. You this is a business. It's all results driven. You got to get to the playoffs. You start out the way it is, and if that's what happens, and you need to run him 15 times and Jonathan Taylor 35 times, I'm sorry, they need to do it. That's what they get paid to do. You know the risk stepping out on that field. You know everything. You're getting paid as top 1% of the 1%ers.
What I meant is if Tyler Warren is out, then you really have no one.
But again, so Phillip Rivers goes in and blows out every bone in his, breaks every bone in his body.
That's a good point.
You have no one.
I have no problem running Taylor 45 times. I would do that.
I hope he falls off the roller coaster and breaks every bone in his body.
Jesus Christ.
You'll never believe it. He fell off the roller coaster and broke every bone in his body.
Justin, I love you. Joni loves Chachi.
Chachi.
Yeah, so stay tuned for Phillip Rivers updates.
I will say, I do have a stat for you here, boy. It was the first time in NFL history that there were 3 games on the same day in the month of December, and each game would decide who took the outright lead in a division. So you had Baltimore against Pittsburgh, Jacksonville and Indy, and Green Bay and Chicago.
Okay.
I thought that was interesting. You said Pittsburgh won that game, right? No.
Yes.
They did.
Yes, they
did. They won that game, so they have the outright lead in the North. Jacksonville, obviously, like we covered, beat the Colts. They have the outright lead there.
Green Bay handled Chicago.
Yes. So the Packers have the outright lead there.
That was a statement. That was a statement by Green Bay.
Yeah.
That was all right, Chicago, nice fine year. Like, welcome to the.
But they go back to they play again in Soldier Field in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens then. But that was that felt like a statement.
Yeah.
Also,
I agree
the AFC North. God, what a just terrible division that is. Holy crap. Lamar Jackson has not been the same since the hamstring, which is really killing my fantasy team.
Well, I mean, the issue is...
Did you make playoffs?
Much? I made the playoffs. I'm the number 1 seed.
Oh, wow.
I had Caleb Williams as my backup because I planned ahead. Yeah, Lamar not being Lamar has I lost 4 straight games actually going. I limped into the playoffs and I still was the number 1 seed.
Yeah, I mean, here's the one issue I've always had with Lamar Jackson that I brought up that I believe is an explanation as to why he hasn't had the same success in the playoffs as he does in the regular season is that far too much of his threat in his game is predicated on his legs, right? And that when you get into the postseason, they're going to take that away from you. They have the time, the resources. They have all this stuff. Like, other teams are going to make a conscious decision, take it away from you, and make you one-dimensional, right? And his pure just ability to throw the ball and be accurate has not been up to snuff. It hasn't. And so when you get into those cold games in the playoffs where you need to be able to go 18 of 24 for 260 yards and 2 touchdowns and no turnovers, he has had issues with that. And now, like you said, with his hamstring injury, that hampers that number 1 threat of his.
Yes.
And so you're forcing him to be one-dimensional. And also, as you know, boy, throwing is a full-body motion. It's not just your arm.
Yeah.
So that hamstring is also affecting his throwing.
That's the biggest thing to me is that his plant leg there, I believe it's his left hamstring. I believe his plant leg there is weak.
Left cheek
now.
Left cheek.
Thank you, Tyrese. Damn it. But yeah, that's one of the big issues is that you can't. It's harder to drive the ball, right? It's harder to put the touch you want on it. Everything that goes with throwing a football, when your left hamstring is hampered, it makes it tougher. So and it's cold out. By the way,
yes, cold makes a difference.
I strained my hamstring anytime it's cold, and I did this when I was 21 years old, 10 years ago. Anytime it is cold, I can feel that hamstring. Like when I walk.
You didn't rehab it right?
There it is.
Hey,
oh, not at all.
You got to stretch more.
100%.
Damn, I was really hoping we'd get a hamstring cam. A ham cam.
Yes, I did too. Get right up in there.
I'd love to show you it.
All right, I'm
anything else, boy, before comma. Hit it.
No.
That's 2. Yeah, so I mean, just continuing with our NFL trend. I mean, we're through 14 weeks. Week 15 is going to be a big one because 3 teams can clinch their postseason berths. The Rams have a very, very simple mission this week. You win and you're in. You win and you're in for the Rams. The 2 AFC teams, the Patriots and the Broncos, are a little more convoluted. The Patriots, if they win over the Bills, they're in. However, there's a litany of things that can also happen should they lose. They can clinch a postseason berth with a tie and a Chargers loss, or a tie and a Texans loss, or tie. Yeah, it's a whole lot of stuff.
Well, you can tie?
My job just got a lot easier. So that's pretty big. And then Denver can clinch the AFC West. They can clinch a berth with a win. If Denver ties, Chargers lose, or Jags lose, or Texans lose, or tie, Colts lose or tie, then they would also secure a playoff spot. So, I mean, it's that time of the year where teams are going to start clinching up. And so whenever teams have that opportunity, particularly teams that are out of, I guess you could just say the New England region, I tend to perk up and pay a lot more attention. And if the Patriots can clinch with a win over Buffalo, I'm locked in. I'm absolutely going to be locked in.
Just for clarification's sake, you said clinching up, not clenching up. Correct?
Clinching. We're going to clinch.
I don't want to sweep alone.
It's sweep, not sleep, you idiot.
So that's pretty big. And then on the other side of it, the talk of the town obviously is the Chiefs, because something in the water out there in Kansas City.
Taylor and Travis set their date. That's why they're talk of the town.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're talking the number 1 power couple in all of Celebrityville. But no, I think that's also a big headline that's going around right now, is just week after week, those chances are just dwindling down.
They have a problem.
Yeah, they have a legitimate problem.
It's official.
And the way that they lost this weekend, oh my gosh. They don't look like themselves. Like, It's almost like if you had watched like Jordan and the Bulls run it back one too many times. You know what I mean? Like that's the vibe it gives. Is like that core of players. Like it just I don't know what's happening. Like it's like their legs are gone, their hands are gone, which is understandable because it's years and years and years of deep runs in short off season. So I can understand.
Well, I mean it's look, one thing it could point to is this could be more regression to the mean because last year they had an absurd record in one score games. It was like
I think they only lost they only lost one score game last year.
But they were in like all of these one score games, right? So you have to think that eventually, if you keep trying to stick your hand in cookie jars, you're gonna get caught, right? And this could be what we're seeing here, right?
Big regression in their players and their kicker. Harrison Butker has not been the clutch player he was last year as a kicker. And that's how they won the majority of their one-score games last year. Was that dude was kicking some unreal game-saving field goals, and they just haven't been there this year.
This is also the Belichick thought process of I'm getting like here's my value on you. Like I don't care who you are, I'm getting rid of you.
Yeah.
When I think your career is trending downwards, even if you just had your best year, I think that's your peak.
Yeah, remember how crazy everyone thought he was for getting rid of Vince Wilfork and letting him go?
Oh, everyone. William McGinnis.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously no shortage of names.
Lawyer Malloy.
Yeah, that's another one.
Every one of them. I mean, legends, right? Hall of Famers that he's been like, well, I mean, your career's trending downwards. It's over. Here's my value. I'm going to put on you. Here's my offer. If you don't like it, you think you can get paid more, go ahead, get paid more.
You know where your locker room is. We'll give you a box. Yeah, so I mean, anyways, that's kind of my update is that we have chances for clinches and we have some chances for eliminations from playoff contention this year or this week.
You know what I love about the Patriots now is the new like Mike Vrabel coming in and restoring the Patriot defense.
Yes,
I am loving that hit on Dart. Clean as can be.
Clean. So clean.
Oh my God, that was just beautiful, and that was like that's Patriot football.
It goes right back to what
it starts with defense.
Gruden was telling him back in his Barstool interview.
I love that. I love that Gruden interview. Have you seen that, Nick?
No, I have not.
With Gruden and Jackson Dart. Oh my gosh, it's iconic.
He basically is just ripping Dart because he's like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I play football as a collision sport too. He goes, I don't give a shit what you do.
He said, I'm always trying to be.
Don't do that in the NFL anymore.
He said, Coach, I'm always trying to be +2, and he goes, what the hell does that mean? He said, when you get hit, fall forward 2 yards.
And he goes, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, and he
goes when it's the fourth quarter and I need a game-winning drive and my star quarterback is in the concussion protocol tent, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
He said, you're not a football player, you're a quarterback. He said, and I don't need a football player in the quarterback position. I need a quarterback in the quarterback position. And everything he said, Josh Allen's the exception to the rule because he's massive.
Scam Newton.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger, exception.
Those are 2 exceptions to the rules, and you also have to know how to get hit and go down. Josh Allen, there are times where, like, when it's key moments, he'll throw his body in there and he's bigger than other people. But there are also times where he's like, well, why am I going to get hit here? I'll go down, I'll slide, I'll do whatever, right? Dart
never slides.
What the play is, will never slide, will never go out of bounds.
Gruden also predicted the future in that he said, Jackson, one day you're going to get hit and you're going to go into that blue tent for concussion protocol. And if I'm the coach, I'm going to be going up and down the sideline going, where the fuck is Dart? And that's exactly what happened when Dart entered concussion protocol. And the coach went Dable went into the tent and got fined for it. Because he saw Russell Wilson throw 2 passes and said, nope, where the hell is Dart? Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy, but yeah, Nick, you'll have to look that up because it's iconic, iconic interview. I love that series on Barstool. But anyways, yeah, so that's my strike. We're on playoff watch, elimination and berths.
All right, Kamala, hit it.
Last one, punch him out.
All right, so I'm actually going to stay with football and at a different level of football than each of you. So we had NFL level, we had FBS level. I'm going to the FCS level in Illinois State. Illinois State came into their game against North Dakota State as 23.5-point underdogs, but they beat the Bison in the Fargo Dome 29-28 to advance to the FCS quarterfinals. It's the first win for the Redbirds, yes, that's Illinois State's mascot, over North Dakota State since 2010. It's the first loss at the Fargo Dome for NDSU since September of 2023, so over 2 years. They haven't lost at home. Illinois State's quarterback, I forget his first name, but Rittenhouse was his last name. He threw 5 picks in that game. 5, and they still won. He threw 5 and then led the Redbirds on 2 late fourth quarter scoring drives to score the last 15 points of the game. They were down 14-0 early, and they were down 28-14 in the fourth quarter. Rittenhouse, after throwing 5 picks, still had the resilience to lead them down the field twice in that fourth quarter to score. I forgot to look up the coach of Illinois State, if someone could look that up. Give him the credit in the world to have the cojones, the balls, the onions to go for 2. They scored that last touchdown with a minute left in regulation, and he decided, F it, this ends now. Went for 2, got it. And that's how you got the 29-28 score. Awesome.
Brett Bielema?
That's not correct. It's not correct.
You said look up the Illinois football coach.
No, that's Illinois coach. Illinois State.
Oh.
Illinois State football coach.
Brock D. Spack.
Great. Rock is his name?
Brock. With a
Brock.
B.
What the balls to do it.
Look at
I was watching it.
This guy.
Hell yes.
That's what I want in my FCS coach.
That's their head coach, yes.
Dude,
he looks like...
I saw he had a mustache, and I mean, just to do it, right? It just...
He looks like
I was watching it, and
uncle.
I was like, you know what? They should go for 2. Just do it, right? Like, one of those things, if they had didn't go for it, tied in, lost in overtime, you'd sit there and go, damn it, we had a chance to finish them, right? And end it. And I love they did it. I love they converted on it. It was awesome, right? So it's the first time North Dakota State. Yes, it's the first time North Dakota State has not advanced to the quarterfinals in any of their 16 FCS playoff appearances. So from 2010 up until now, they've been in the playoffs every year. It's the first time they haven't gotten to the quarterfinals. And you couple this NDSU loss with the South Dakota State loss to Montana, and it is now the first year that the FCS championship will not feature the Bison or the Jackrabbits since 2016 when JMU beat Youngstown State. That's the only year in the last 16 years that the championship game at the FCS level has not had either or both North Dakota State and South Dakota State.
Is there still a Dakota left?
I actually think South Dakota is left. I think South Dakota plays Montana. Yes, they do. South Dakota plays Montana this weekend.
Sweet. Dude, I love that part of the country, man. Absolutely love it. Yeah. The fact that there's high-level football. By the way, what was the spread of that Illinois State game? It was,
20.5.
And what's the spread of Tulane
Ole Miss? It was 16.5 the last time I saw. Was Tulane Ole Miss was 16.5. Yep. JMU, I think, was
And how awesome is it?
And a half.
And how awesome is it that Illinois State won and we're celebrating it?
Correct.
Right? The underdog. That's fantastic. If JMU takes down Oregon, it should be the greatest thing ever. Not that I'm rooting for. Well, I'm kind of rooting for it.
Yeah.
But I do love Dan Lanning. But also, that'd be cool to see a Virginia team and a JMU team that we know people have gone to JMU. Like, that'd be cool to see them win that. And by the way, like, Illinois State just was a 23.5-point dog to, North Dakota State was a power. Why can't it happen?
Beyond power, like dynasty of dynasties.
That's blue blood. Yeah, that's the blue blood.
And my man with the mustache went and showed them Brock Spack. What Brock Spack is all about.
Mustache.
Yes. Anything else before we move on?
What a play call from Spack. You have to throw your head into it when you say his last name.
Oh, you have to. Yeah. Spack.
Could you imagine?
Grit your teeth.
Remember when the Patriots played the Rams in the Super Bowl, and there was that clip that came out afterwards of Belichick walking up and down the sideline like, "Where's Sean? Where's Sean? I got him. Could you imagine someone being like, "Where's Spack? Where's Spack?"
No, He's the one doing that to them.
Where's Bill? That's how I imagine his accent is.
Yes. Well, we don't even know where he's from.
I want
Where's he from?
Yeah, where's he from?
This coach's spotlight brought to you by Long Jewelers in Virginia Beach.
Brought to you by Vagus.
I scream, you scream, we all scream for vagina cream.
All right, so Brock Speck, he was a defensive coordinator at Purdue.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that there's going to be enough on Wikipedia about this guy.
It doesn't say where he's from.
Get his roster, like Illinois State's
he was
roster.
born in 1962 in Rockford, Illinois.
Love it.
Dude, he played football at Purdue. From 1980 to 1983, he was a linebacker at Purdue.
I believe Illinois churns out coaches, by the way.
Hell yeah.
Brock D. Speck.
It's insane.
Yeah. So odds are he doesn't have a...
He's been the head coach. Accent. He's been the head coach at Illinois State since 2009.
I saw that. I'm looking at that. That's amazing.
He has a head coaching record of 121-78. He's 10-6 in D1 playoffs.
That makes the going for 2 even better because Illinois State's in North Dakota State's conference.
Let's go.
So they're playing those guys every year and having to lose to them every year. We just said they hadn't beat them since 2010, 15 years, and he's going, no, this ends now.
I back Speck.
Awesome. That makes the call to go for 2 even better. Because you would think that you don't go for 2 because you should know them so well that you would feel confident with the momentum you have to beat them in overtime. But he knows, no, this ends now. And he got it. Awesome. And the whole game, absurd. Your QB throws 5 picks and he comes back. That's a culture thing too. So good for Brock Speck, good for Rittenhouse. Yeah. I forget his first name. Just an unbelievable, in my opinion, achievement for them to win that game.
It takes a tough man to make such a tender forecast, Speck.
Thank you, Ernie Anastas. Anything else before we move on?
No, moving on.
That's going to take us to our favorites segment, brought to you as always by One Legacy Title and Escrow in Jacksonville, Florida. Visit them on Instagram at One Legacy Florida and visit them at onelegacyflorida.com, all one word, to see how they can help you with your next house closing. One Legacy Title and Escrow, because your legacy matters. This week, we went with our favorite football announcers of all time. And I assumed we meant play-by-play announcers, correct? Your stunned silence is very reassuring.
Correct. I did strictly.
So what? Kamlo's got like Herb Street and John Madden and McAfee and play-by-play announcers.
Well, this is my list, and I'm sticking to it.
Jesus Christ! Who should go first then?
Honorable mention.
Kamlo.
Give me Brent Musburger.
All right, that's a play-by-play announcer. All right.
Yeah. Just because I can hear. I can hear Brockmeyer. Anytime someone brings up Brent Musburger, I immediately think Brockmeyer. And that's why he's my honorable mention. Number 5, give me Vern Lundquist.
Vern.
Love Vern, dude. I mean, voice of a generation. Who the hell is Happy Gilmore? Love Vern Lundquist, though. I mean, anytime Vern is on the call or in the building, get him in my ear. I need some Vern Lundquist in my life regularly. Number 4, I think he belongs on the Mount Rushmore of all announcers. Give me Al Michaels.
That's very good.
Give me Al Michaels. I mean, that's a voice of our childhood. That's a voice of our childhood.
These are all play-by-play announcers, by the way, Kamala.
I'm doing fine so far. Just give it a minute. Let me cut.
You're just reading off some list that Chat GPT generated.
No, this is me. This is all me, baby.
Okay.
Number 3, I want Mike Tirico. I want Mike Tirico. I think Mike Tirico is a guy who, like, in the booth, on the mic, I think there's very, very few people, I think, who can compete with him. I've thoroughly enjoyed Mike Tirico, and I thought that when Dan Patrick kind of stepped away from, especially, like, Super Bowl stuff, like the trophy presentation, all that good stuff, and Mike Tirico kind of stepped in and started getting a bigger role within the football broadcast, I think Mike Tirico's done a fantastic job. I love everything he has to say. He's a guy that I truly enjoy watching and listening to. Number 2, hello, friends. I want Jim Nantz. That, I think, of everyone on this list, I think that's the guy I enjoy the most. I think Jim Nantz is a guy who just has so much respect for the game, so much respect for the position, and he does it with such poise, and he's so demure when he does it. Give me Jim Nantz in the 2 spot. And then number 1, he's won 7 Super Bowls.
Hell,
Kevin Burkhardt?
Listen to him calling games.
I want Tom Brady. Give me Tom Brady in the 1 hole. And I knew this.
Less.
I put him there because you were going to have so much faith in my list up to this point.
Everything was looking correct.
Wow, Kamlo did so good with this list. Things are really trending up on his favorites. Nope. Give me Tom Brady. Stocks are plummeting. Sell.
Yep, sell.
I want Tom Brady. He was the GOAT off the field. He's the GOAT in the booth. Ain't nobody better doing it. Give me Tom Brady.
His backup is better than him.
I will hang up and listen.
Well, so was Matt Castle.
I will hang up and listen. Give me Tommy Terrific.
God.
Next. Top that.
Right. Boy.
All right. Well, I have all play-by-play announcers, so
thank you.
Here we go. Mine is going to lean a little bit towards the college side than it is the NFL, but I will start with the NFL guy, Al Michaels. He was the voice of Sunday Night Football for us for a very long time. Al Michaels in the 5 spot. It's the voice of probably multiple generations at this point. So good with every sport he does, but particularly football is what I think of with Al Michaels. My next one, number 4, Chris Fowler. He's been the lead man on the biggest games for college football the last probably, 10 years or so at this point?
Yeah, at least 10, 15 years.
The ABC game with Herb Street. Yeah. I think I love the way he calls games. I think he's got great voice inflection. I'm a big fan of Chris Fowler. Next one, another NFL guy, Ian Eagle. I think he's extremely underrated. I love the way he calls games.
Ian?
Yes, Ian. I know. His name being Ian does bother me a little bit, but he's an underrated part of NFL Sundays, and I think he's one of the best in the biz. My second one, Brent Musburger. God, I have to go with Brent Musburger. Also, he is the one that coined the phrase "you are looking live," and I love that when you start a preview for the game, and he goes, "You are looking live," and it's just like the blimp footage showing you the sold out stadium and everything. And he was big time games. Brent Musburger didn't do small games. He always did big time games. And my number 1 is Gus Johnson. You can't leave Gus Johnson off the list, and he's got to be number 1. That man makes watching football games so damn enjoyable. I will watch just for him. And by the way, his partner Joel Klatt, I think, is the best college
Did you know Joel Klatt played minor league baseball?
I did learn that. Yes.
Isn't that wild?
I did learn that a couple weeks ago.
He also played college football, so it's not to be like it's just some random schmuck.
Colorado.
Yeah, but he played minor league baseball as well, which is
I think that duo is the best in college football, and I love Gus Johnson. Makes everything so much better. That's my list. Hang up a listen.
No, also the way I learned Joel Klatt played minor league baseball as I was watching a video of him. I forget what he was on. He was telling a minor league baseball story, and his favorite one was he was on some backfields with I think the Padres or some random team, and Ricky Henderson at like 40-some years old had just signed a minor league deal with that team, and was on the field with Klatt, and Klatt was batting second to Ricky batting first. And they're sitting there, they're looking at the pitchers doing his warm ups, they're doing their stretches and stuff. And at the end, Ricky would turn to him and say a number like 3, 2, and Klatt was like, "What is he saying?" Right? Because he's like, "I'm up there." I'm like, "Whatever, F it. I'm overachieved here. I'm going to take a swing and try to hit a home run with Ricky Henderson." He gets back in the dugout after Ricky does this like several times. He goes, "Coach, what is he saying?" Coach starts laughing at him and goes, "He's telling you what pitch he's going to steal on so you can take the pitch." He's going up and saying 2 to make sure that the second pitch of the at-bat, you take it so Ricky can steal, which is hilarious.
That's so great.
It's so great. Okay, so my list, as we digress, 2 honorable mentions. I had Keith Jackson, the Rambling Wreck of Georgia Tech. Oh, Nelly. Keith Jackson is like the original voice of college football. You can almost, even if you heard, he's the type of voice you hear once and you can hear it in your sleep and always remember it, right? And to me, that is an amazing talent and skill. So Keith Jackson. Oh, Nelly. Yeah. Yes. And the other honorable mention is Joe Tessitore. Tess. He's I really like Tessitore.
You like him because his daughter
went to UVA
and won a national championship with the swim and dive team or whatever.
But I do like Tessitore. I think he he does such a good job of keeping it, like, trying to enter your home, right? It's one of the big jobs of a play-by-play announcer is make you feel like, you're at home watching it. Like, they are a part of your viewing thing. And Tess, I think, in my opinion, does a really good job of putting that effort in and caring about that as well. That it's, a job first and foremost, but it's also a personal thing. Like, it's a connection thing. You're trying to have the connection. I think I've always thought Tess Store does a really good job with that. Number 5, I have Mark Jones. Mark Jones normally calls the late night, like with the old Pac-12 After Dark. That was Mark Jones. Now it's still those late games, right? Mark Jones, if you listen to him, you will learn at least 3 new words every time you listen to him. Like, the words he throws, and it's amazing too. It's phenomenal that he's able to do that. And it's seamless. And it's like, what was imperious? What the hell does that mean? Right? And you look it up and go, you know what? 1, he used it correctly. 2, that's a sweet-ass word and a sweet-ass pull. So Mark Jones, I am a big fan of. And that may just be a nerd in me, loving that he's throwing out these words in there almost like someone's daring him to, but doing it correctly and seamlessly is an incredible talent. Number 4 is Pat Summerall. The Pat Summerall, John Madden combo. I mean, you could make an argument that... Actually, no, to be honest, there's no argument there. Pat Summerall, John Madden is the greatest play-by-play and analyst duo in the history of football, any level, right?
Did you enjoy the way Summerall called the games, though?
Yes, I did.
It was very, low tone.
I loved it, though, because it... I don't know. It found it soothing and, relaxing, but it made you gravitated towards his voice. He had kind of that commanding type of voice where he's not trying too hard to get your attention. So that's what I like.
Of Gus Johnson.
Correct. And I love Gus, but Pat Summerall had that almost presence. And he was a former player. He was an excellent, I believe, cornerback for don't quote me, I want to say the Lions, but I want to believe he made several all-pro teams or something like that. He was a very good player back in the day. Maybe kicker, punter, something. He played
very different than a cornerback.
It is. Well, George Blanda back in the day played multiple positions, including kicker.
I'm sure he played multiple positions.
So Pat Summerall was a former player too, but the cadence with which he called a game just felt very natural, right? Number 3 is Brent Musburger. For a lot of things you guys have said, he's so good, right? Just so much fun. It made you feel differently when you heard Brent Musburger on the call. And to me, that is, something that can't be quantified, obviously. It's hard to say and identify that type of talent too. So the fact that he was able to do that for as long as he was able to, and as well as he was able to, is pretty amazing. Number 2 is Kevin Harlan. I like Kevin Harlan. Yep. I know a lot of people will say, they prefer him basketball-wise, and he's great basketball-wise. Yes,
I do.
With no regard for human life. Right, NBA dunks or whatever. But football, I love Kevin Harlan. When he's calling someone, your Gus Johnson type calls when the guy's streaking downfield. Kevin Harlan. The streaker's the best thing.
Down the field.
Yes. And he's running like an idiot. Yeah, it's one of the best calls ever when he called that. He just has a great ability to identify the moments when the inflection in the tone needs to change. And I just love the tone of his voice. He thinks quick on his feet, obviously, with the streakers. And he's done other things, too, before in that same breath. So Kevin Harlan's my number 2. And my number 1 is Jason Benetti. I love Jason Benetti.
I love Jason Benetti, but do you think football first with him?
For me. So I know when we did our favorite baseball announcers, you had Benetti on there, and I left him off. And I said I left him off because, personally, I think he's better at football. I love him at football. I really do. And not that he's bad at baseball. He's great at that. Just personally, for me, again, this is all about our favorites, he is fantastic at football. I will watch a game that he's calling just to watch it for football. And I'll do that same thing for baseball, but not to the extent that I will go out of my way for a football one. I really do. I think he is. I think he is right now the best football play-by-play person. Truly, at this moment, right? So he's
so damn underrated. I think if you combine that, you'll go out of the way for football with him, and I'll go out of my way for baseball with him. And by the way, I believe he called the Michigan Villanova basketball game tonight.
Yes, he does basketball. Yes.
Yeah. He's up there, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Way more recognition. He's
Correct.
So good.
Correct. I mean, he to me, and I've always said this for years, I think Mike Tirico might be the best play-by-play studio host, that type of person, whatever you want to call it, because of Tirico's ability to do these multiple things and do them so well. Now, like, I mean, I don't have him on my list for football just because I don't think of, like, to me, his best thing is as a studio host, right? Like the Olympic stuff.
Yeah, it's studio host.
He's so good at everything, though, so it was hard for me to put him for football because it's like, is that really even his best? But it's like he's like a victim of his own success. He's so good that it's like what you define as his best. So Tirico was a notable snub for me because I do think that he is the best to ever be behind the mic. I really do. And I think Benetti is on his way to being right there with him. And the other guys like that are your Al Michaels, your Bob Costas, right? And I believe Tirico's better than them. And I think Benetti has a legitimate chance to be better than them. Like, I'd almost argue who he is now, but he doesn't have the full, experience, all of like the notable moments,
he doesn't get the biggest games.
Correct, that Bob and Al have gotten throughout the years, right? So he needs those moments. But man, like you said, boy, Jason Benetti is so good. He deserves more attention than he gets.
Have the great call in the Holy War this year of there's a bear on the loose in Provo.
Yes.
Such a great call.
So good. And he does stuff like that all the time. And like you said, boy, the fact that people could argue he's one of the best in football, in basketball, and in baseball is an incredible skill. Like, it's just a testament to his professionalism and how good he is.
Yeah, he's
right.
So
Benetti's my number one, my favorite. I think him.
He was with
RG3 and Alexa Landestoy, the Capitals' great Alexa Landestoy. I believe they are right now the best college football pairing.
Okay.
So that's my list.
I'll take Gus and Klatt, but I'm not going to argue too much with that. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yep. Anything else before we move on?
Nope.
That's going to take us for our What to Look For segment, brought to you as always by VB Cookie Co. Looking for the perfect way to stand out at the next event you are hosting? Well, custom cookies are a timeless way to have everyone still buzzing even after they leave. Look no further for your cookie needs than VB Cookie Co. Follow them on Instagram at VB Cookie Co. and message them to order yours today. Whether it is a bridal shower, birthday, engagement, or baby shower, their team will work with you to make all your cookie dreams come true. VB Cookie Co. for the sweetest moments. Boy, give them something to look for since I can't see you.
Okay. So I'm going to let Kamlo take the next one because I was going to say something, but I'm going to let Kamlo do it because I think it's more important to him.
Fuck you.
But I'm talking about Army-Navy, so if you didn't understand that one. But there's the new 30 for 30 on Stuart Scott that's going to come out tomorrow, which I think all of us who are around our age or a little older understand how important he was to our youth and to us watching SportsCenter and how great SportsCenter was and just like how fun Stuart Scott was. If you're a youngin', you need to watch it and understand who this guy is. Yeah, it's called Booyah.
Yeah.
Like, you need to understand who he was.
It's gonna be
as
special.
Cool as the other side of the pillow.
Yeah.
Yep, that's my what to watch.
It's gonna be very, very special. I'm super excited about that. It's gonna be a absolute tearjerker. I already know it.
100%.
I already know.
I think his daughters helped like produce it.
Yeah, they're in a couple of the trailers and stuff like that for it. It's gonna be just a tear fest, bro. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean the boy already alluded to it. If you're not watching the NFL this weekend, if you're not tuned in to watch these teams clinch up, what better place to go than Army versus Navy? I mean, it's a staple in my household. I know it's a big deal for your guys' dad. It's a huge deal for my dad. And, every year he would make I've told this story a couple of times, though. He makes his Widowmaker chili and would invite the mailman in off the street to come watch it and have some chili. Yeah, it's a big deal. A timeless tradition within my life. It's going to be up in I think it's in Baltimore, right? It's at M&T Banks.
I thought so.
Yeah, I think
right. Let me check.
Yeah, I think it's up there in Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Yeah, so I mean that's 100% what to look for. Army Navy up in Baltimore, Maryland. Go Navy, beat Army.
I like it. I have a few things for us. I talked about the FCS playoffs. Number 2, Montana State is now the highest ranked team still left after number 1, North Dakota State. They take on the Lumberjacks of Stephen F. Austin. And number 3, Montana takes on South Dakota, like we said earlier. The winner of each of those games will face each other in the semifinals, meaning that if Montana State and Montana both win, there's another Brawl of the Wild in the semifinals to determine who goes to the championship, which is pretty wicked. Yeah. Yes. I have the Bills-Patriots. Connolly brought that up. That, to me, is the biggest. Yeah, it's the only game that grabbed my attention at all this weekend, NFL-wise. It's Bills-Patriots. That should be a fun one. We'll see what the Patriots really are made of as the Bills come to town. Thursday night, I got a couple things here. The basketball Cy-Hawk Trophy is up for grabs. So, as we talked about before, the Cy-Hawk is the Iowa State Cyclones and the Iowa Hawkeyes. So,
that's fun.
8-1 Iowa, led by your boy Bennett Sturts, transfer from the Drake. Yep. They will travel to 9-0 Iowa State, fresh off their pounding the largest ever victory over an AP number 1 team at home when they pounded Purdue 81-58. Fresh off of that, the number 4 Iowa State Iowa State Cyclones. Oh boy, our Iowa fans just they just lost it. Ames no longer wants to tune in. But yes, so Iowa State will host Iowa for this basketball Cy-Hawk clash on Thursday night. That should be a good game. And then women's
a bucket list place for me is Hilton Coliseum. I need to go to Hilton Coliseum for a basketball game.
Yeah, what better game too? If we were able to go to that, that'd be sweet. True. Women's volleyball, though. We talked about that. They're in their tournament now. The Sweet 16 is set, so you will have the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 this weekend. A lot of chalk. All chalk except for one Cinderella out there is Cal Poly. They took out the number 5 seed BYU Cougars in the first round. Then they took out number 4 USC, the Trojans, in the second round. And they will face number 1 Kentucky, who's the second overall team in the whole tournament. Number 1 Kentucky on Thursday. Everyone else is chalk. Every 1 through 4, 2 through 3, it's all those matchups, which means a lot of heavyweights in great volleyball. But Cal Poly is our only underdog that's still around.
What is Cal Poly's nickname?
I believe they're the Mustangs.
It's not as good as the other Cal.
No, so you have to double check. You have to look that up. I don't know.
That's the Mustangs.
Mustangs. Rain Man strikes again.
Their mascot is Musty the Mustang.
Ooh, I bet he smells great. I bet he's just like the Syracuse Orange.
I was about to say they don't wash the uniform.
Anything else before we move on?
No.
And end this.
Wrap it up.
Yep. So that's going to do it for us here at What Caught My Eye, or WCME Sports. As always, for the boy Stephen Beshy and the man Stephen Comlow, I am the coach Nick Beshy. Don't forget to follow us on all of our socials. That's on X, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, TikTok, Snapchat, and Threads at WCME_sports. Our episodes drop every Wednesday at noon on Spotify, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. And all that information can be found on our website, WCMEsports.com. Remember, be decent to each other, have a good one, and we will see you next time. Take care, Guatemala, and go County, beat Varina.